Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about something absolutely insane that the Department of Homeland Security wants to do. It's not very great stuff, okay? They want information of people's information, their phone numbers, emails, addresses, all kinds of information about you, or particularly if you talk bad about ICE online. Um, this is some fascist type stuff, not very cool stuff because I guess if you talk bad about ICE, which I haven't really talked bad about ICE on my channel, but I have talked bad about ICE on my Instagram, so maybe they'll come after me. But anyways, that's kind of the gist of today's video. We're gonna be talking about the situation and breaking it down. Um, yeah, not good. Granted, I'm sure there's people who are like, "Oh, well, good. You talk bad about ICE. You need to be blah 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 blah." Yeah, well, I mean, when did we live in 1930s and 40s Germany? I'm just saying, when did that transform to that? Because that's kind of what it's looking like. We got the Orange Man who's impersonating his favorite man, the Mustache Man, who thinks he's the greatest president ever, who likes to glaze himself, and honestly has a giant ego problem, and uses ICE as a personal Gestapo to round up anyone who has slightly brown skin. And then he whines and complains about the halftime show, even though it broke multiple records and was one of the most, I mean, it was the most viewed halftime show of all time, versus the pathetic attempt of the Turning Point USA one. Nevertheless, here is the stuff that we're talking about. So the Department of Homeland Security has sent legal requests to Google, Reddit, Meta, and Discord for the names, email addresses, telephone numbers, and identifying data of accounts to track people who criticize ICE. Yeah, I mean this is not good stuff right here. A lot of people have been doing this lately. So will the companies fold? Hopefully not, because again, if you have talked about ICE recently in a negative way, which I have, and I will just simply say they suck. Um, I could say a lot more, but I think this video would get taken down if I did. But point being, that is not good stuff because this is first off in America. First Amendment's a thing. You're allowed to criticize and talk bad about the president if you want. You're allowed to criticize the military. I mean, you shouldn't criticize the military, but you're allowed to criticize anything you want in America for the most part. But now this is not very cool. This is very fascist. This is very 1930s, 1940s Germany type shit. Um, and ICE is currently trading on almost every single right. Anyways, we got Trump and his regime basically saying, "Oh, your rights mean nothing." Remember when they talked about that guy who got shot in Minnesota and talked about how he had a gun, except he didn't pull it out, he didn't touch it, it got taken away from him, and they shot him. And they're like, "You can't have a gun at a protest," but they never mentioned how every time there's a Republican rally, they usually show up with guns. Remember January 6th? Those guys showed up with guns. No one mentions that though. Point being, this is good, not good at all, because this is an infringement on almost all of our rights. You're allowed to criticize ICE all you want online. It's a freedom of speech right. You are allowed to criticize ICE online, in person, and whatever you want to do. But the fact is that they want information on you just because you criticize ICE is not cool at all. And again, this is infringement on our rights. And I mean, if they do this, this is not good. All right, I mean, and we'll have to see if the companies actually fold. And honestly, who knows if they do? I don't know if they will, because I feel like it depends on which company breaks, and I feel like if Meta is one of them that gives in, which Meta obviously is Facebook and Instagram. Well, if you use Facebook and Instagram and you've recently criticized ICE, or not even recently in general criticized ICE, you might be tracked down. Reddit, Discord. Obviously, there's probably a lot of Discords and people on Reddit that talk bad about ICE. Again, on my Instagram, I talk bad about ICE. I have. I could go into the whole controversy on ICE, their job, and I understand there are criminals in this country who came here illegally and are monsters and need to be, removed. But it seems like half the time they don't actually go after those people, and they're mostly going after actual American citizens by mistake. Just because, not even by mistake, they do it on purpose. They do it for the love of the game. They look at you, you're slightly Hispanic, they're going to treat you as an absolute threat. And there's this recent video of some ICE agents in their car. This lady was driving by them. It very clearly shows the ICE agent turning his wheel into the other person's car, and they hit her. I think it was a woman, yeah. And then they proceeded to shoot the car like 5 times. I think they actually struck her. She survived, and yet they try to say, and then the government tries to paint her and anyone who opposes ICE as a domestic terrorist. This is the day and age we live in America, where if you criticize ICE, or if you resist ICE in any form, they try to taint your name by saying you are a domestic terrorist, you are a traitor, and you have committed treason. But no one mentions how Trump is glazing Israel and giving them all of our money. No one mentions that. Again, you do anything against ICE, you are a domestic terrorist. And that is the time we live in America because we have Trump who is using ICE to, he's basically weaponizing ICE to take out anyone he doesn't like, aka people of color, particularly the Hispanic kind. You know, if you have slightly darker skin, you're apparently a threat to America. You are the biggest threat to America. You are not human because he constantly says they're not humans, they're animals. And it's just like, this guy is our president, by the way. This guy is the president of the United States, and he's out here calling people animals. I don't even know how this guy won the second term. I'm not saying Kamala was a better choice because she was low-key bad too, but God forbid, dude. This is just the kind of shit we got to deal with. It's not good. All right, it's not good at all. Because if these companies do fold, a lot of people are going to have their information given out to ICE, and ICE can do whatever they want with this information. They can track you down if they wanted to. They can harass you in person because they are known for harassing people a lot, and then proceeding to shoot them. Even if you don't even do anything wrong, they will still shoot you. And these murderers, they don't get any punishment. They don't get any kind of backlash, at least from the government. The government says, oh, they're not doing enough. Trump says that ICE is doing a great job and they haven't done enough. I guess in Trump's form of doing a good job is killing American citizens. That's his form of doing a good job, I guess. Which they have killed multiple American citizens. They have killed multiple innocent people. They have rounded up American citizens. They have taken them away, made it to where they cannot contact their families. ICE is probably the biggest threat in America right now. Let's be real. I mean, they're being weaponized. Trump is sending them after anyone he doesn't like. And hell, now that if these companies break and they come after, I mean, I'm sure they're going to come after me. I'm sure. Who knows? You know, if you criticize ICE, I guess they're going to call you, say, "Hey, you can't talk bad about ICE." I mean, what gives? You know, I don't know. Today, things just aren't great in America. You know, we got constantly, got Trump supporters like, "Yeah, we're winning. We're winning. Are we winning? Are we winning?" We got the Department of Justice that wants to basically force companies to hand over information of citizens, their phone numbers, addresses, emails, all kinds of stuff. They want that kind of information. And they want to use it for whatever purpose, because I guess if you criticize ICE, you are a domestic terrorist. If you even criticize ICE in person, if you try to resist doing anything, if ICE is tackling you down, you just try to simply protect yourself, you are a domestic terrorist. And that's how they view you. Trump supporters, though, they don't have a problem with that. They don't have a problem with ICE murdering people in cold blood in broad daylight, killing people who have families. They don't care about that. They don't care about the people. It's such bullshit, man. Like I could go on if I wanted to really voice out my opinion in full depth. This video would probably be an hour long at least, but I'm not going to do that. It's just this whole thing. They want your information and they possibly will get it. I feel like the government, they're unfortunately pretty good at pressuring to get their way. And they might pressure these companies like Meta, freaking Discord, and Reddit. They might pressure them to get their bidding. But for the sake of people who do criticize ICE and just overall your First Amendment rights, you better hope that the companies don't break. Now we're gonna hope that they stand strong and they don't give in. But I have to wait and see because, yeah, I mean, this is fascist type stuff. This is not cool. This is not America at this point. We're becoming not 1930s Germany. And yeah, all your rights are being treaded on. All your rights are being crushed. All your rights don't matter to the current administration because, yeah, if you oppose him, you're a domestic terrorist. If you oppose his Gestapo, you're a domestic terrorist. If you think immigrants are, the immigrants who come here and work way harder than all these people. I'm telling you, there are some immigrants who come here, they go into construction, they do all these hardworking labor jobs, and they work 1,000 times harder than almost every fucking politician in power right now because what have they had to do in their life? Trump didn't have to do absolute shit to get into his position in life. He got bought out of the draft and then basically rode his way to power. That's all he had to do. And that's the same thing with most other politicians. They didn't have to do any actual hard work in their life. And then we got immigrants who come here. They work way harder than these politicians. And they work way harder than the mega people who constantly say, oh, these people are taking all the jobs. Like, no. They're actually doing great jobs. They build houses, they do landscape, and they do all these beautiful jobs, all these great jobs, And yet people still go like, oh, well, they're not doing anything good. These people, good immigrants that come here and actually work hard, they work way harder than all the people who complain about them. That's just a fact. And now we just, again, in this current time, we have Trump supporters who's like, yeah, get them out. This is what I voted for. So they voted for ICE to go around killing people and rounding people up with absolute unnecessary force and violence. I don't know, man. If the Department of Justice is able to get their hands on this information, though, it's definitely not good. Um, Again, infringement on our rights, but hey, we'll kind of see. So, anyways, that's going to wrap it up for today's video, I think. Thank you guys for watching. Again, hopefully that the companies don't break, but to be honest, I mean, I feel like they'll find a way, a loophole around it and get your information anyway. So, if you've criticized ICE recently, be careful. Stay safe, and everyone have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys in the next video.